Namaskar. This is one of my favorite topics, fasting. For the developed yogis, and I know so many of them, the enjoyment of fasting is almost as much as the enjoyment of eating. Can you imagine? Because as we do fasting, we get so much benefit, especially if it is done regularly. I will be explaining exactly the meaning of fasting a little bit later. Now I want to explain the benefits, because fasting, of course, means going without food or going without much food. I'll explain that later. But in any case, physically, mentally, spiritually, fasting has so much benefit. Physically, it does not, of course, involve, or much less involves, the digestive system. So the digestive system gets a rest, because there is an automatic relationship between how active the digestive system is and how active the healing and cleansing is in the body. The more active the digestion, the less the cleansing and healing. So when we make the digestion system almost zero active, then the whole body shifts all of its energy into cleaning and healing. It means that the worn out organs, they start healing. It means that any toxins that are inside the body, they start coming out. So disease runs away. And the energy level of the individual very much increases step by step. At the same time, the level of stress decreases. Now we're talking about the mental side. Why does the stress decrease? Because when the body is much engaged in fermentation of digestion, gases are moving, they disturb the nerves disturb the brain, the mind becomes sluggish. On the other hand, even headache can happen when gases inside the body are too much. It is the main cause. You can say 90% of the headaches we have, they come from the internal gases. So when the nerves become calm, because they are much less agitated by internal gases, then automatically the mind also becomes calm. And profound thought can happen. So as a result, the meditation can become much deeper. But before I talk about that, still on the mental side, what are the greater attachments that we have in our life? Obviously, one of them is to food. And as long as we feel I can only be happy if my stomach is full or I have good food, then the mind remains weak. When we separate ourselves from that attachment gradually more and more, when we are less and less dependent on food, then automatically our happiness easily becomes more. It is much easier for us to be contented and balanced-minded. So those who have the capacity to go without food, their mind is much stronger. Okay, spiritually, I said the meditation will be deeper. The meditation becomes deeper. Well, in Sanskrit, fasting is called upavas. Upavas means getting near to God, or getting nearer to your infinite deep self. And we are able to give more time, more energy, more feeling of surrender and dedication when our mind is not distracted by food. This may or may not happen the first or second time that you're doing fasting, but it happens pretty soon after. And you also even get the benefit the day after fasting and the following days as the body becomes more calm and quiet and clean and more healthy, then the spiritual level goes up. because the person's mind is getting directed toward the deeper being. So fasting is so valuable. Now, how to do it? The best is that you will do fasting at least 2 times a month. 2 times a month. It can be any 2 days you want on a regular basis, but the best days, they come 11 days after the full moon and 11 days after the new moon. You see, the moon's effect on the earth is especially on the liquid factor. So the gravity of the moon, it's also affecting the liquid in our own body, and it causes greater and lesser agitation of our glands and their hormones. So when the moon's pull is less, when the moon's pull is maximized on the 11th day after the full moon, 11th day after the new moon, that's when the nerves, rather the glands, are maximally disturbed. So those are the best days to fast, so that your glands will be at sunrise. So after sunrise, the yogi who is following dry fasting does not drink any more water, does not eat anything. And this continues throughout that day, throughout that night, until the next sunrise comes. And then they may break their fast, and I will be explaining that shortly, how to break the fast. Now, if this dry fasting is too much for you, then you might be fasting on water with the same. But if you're fasting on water, then of course the fasting starts in the dinner time of the previous day, and it will continue all that night, all the next day, all the next night, and then you will break it at the time of your breakfast on the day after fasting. And the same thing goes if you want an easier fast, which you might do with juice, with fruit juices or vegetable juices. Of course, diluted fruit juices, diluted vegetable juices is more cleansing than taking the whole juice itself. And if that is too much for you to start with, at least you can start with just eating fruits. Here, I'm talking about juicy fruits. So I'm not including banana, avocado, or jackfruit. I'm talking about the fruits which are extremely easy to digest, very juicy in nature, like watermelon, grapes, peaches, plums, all of these juicy fruits are there. If you take only one kind of juicy fruit, it's better than eating many kinds. So there are all of these different levels of fasting. You start at the level that you feel comfortable with, and each time you do the fasting, you might make it more and more subtle. So last I'll explain how to break the fast. This is especially important because during the fast, toxins are being released, but maybe they have not yet come out. So to get the full benefit of the fast, the best way is that you will take water which has lemon, or in the Maharlika they call it lemoncito or calamansi, the juice of it only, without the pulp, without the seeds. You put it through a strainer. You have a good amount of juice in 1 liter of water, and then you add salt to that. The salt should be of sufficient quantity that your body will not feel comfortable to take in so much salt. It will be significantly higher than the salt in your blood level. So your body, your digestive system will reject it quickly, and it will cause a purge. How much salt to take? In 1 liter of water, a person may take, for example, 1 teaspoon or even 2 teaspoons. Depends. If you have a tendency toward constipation, you might even need a whole tablespoon. In any case, it is better a little bit too much than too little, so that you'll get a purge. And then you'll learn next time, if you got too much purge, means too much, you got, for example, diarrhea, and you're having to run to the toilet many times, and it was too much salt. But it wasn't no harm. Yeah, so you can take less the next time. If you take too little salt and you don't get the purge, then you can do it again. If you run out of time because you have to go to work or whatever, don't worry about it. Take your fruit meal, because that's what you should do. After you have purged and you don't need to go to the bathroom, the comfort room anymore, then at that point when the stomach is quiet, then you can take a breakfast of fruits. There you may take a very ripe banana, very, very ripe banana, and other fruits are there. And if you can get any yogurt and you're fine with any kind of yogurt, that is good because of the probiotic content in it. That's how I'd suggest that you break your fast. If fruits are not available, then you might take some salad. If salad is not available, then you might take some light vegetable soup made without oil. This is the concept of fasting. When you break in this way, then the other toxins will come out and your body will get a very nice reward the rest of the day. And as you practice it regularly, you'll get the reward for the whole month. So please, enjoy, as you enjoy eating, slowly, slowly develop the capacity to enjoy fasting. So I want to add to the system of breaking the fast that when you drink the lemon water or the calamansi water, that 1 liter of water, it should be drunk within a maximum of about 5 minutes. Otherwise, if you take too long to drink it, then you won't get the purge. Like if you take 30 minutes to drink it, it won't happen. And if you want to drink more after that, whether with salt or without salt, straight after that, that's up to you. Now, an important explanation about fasting relates to the concept of autophagy, which a couple years ago a scientist got a Nobel Prize for that, for discovering that and demonstrating clearly that when one does fasting and you're not getting the nutrients that the body needs, then it is automatic that the body will consume its own cells. Now, in the beginning days of that, then it will be consuming cells which are waste product inside of itself, and it will be extracting the nutrients that it needs, whether it's proteins or carbohydrates or fats or whatever, or vitamins, minerals, whatever it can find in those waste product cells. And it will separate that away from the toxic elements of those cells, including even cancerous cells. And that will be excreted from the body. So this is a very valuable thing that happens in fasting, as I say, called autophagy. So you get many different benefits from fasting: physical, mental, spiritual. And in this way, if you make it a very regular practice of your life, step by step, you will start to enjoy it. Maybe you enjoy it almost as much as eating. It becomes a beautiful and something that you never will want to give up once you start it. And so let this beautiful new fasting regime in your life open up a new vista of your life as you become the person, step by step, that you have always wanted to be. Thank you very much, and Namaskar.